It's time now for Built for Success, presented by Ram Trucks. Every single one of these Heisman finalists help their team build towards success this season. Let's take a look at your 4 finalists. Jayden Daniels, odds-on favorite right now, led LSU to 9-3. Michael Penix Jr., plus 1,100. He's got his team undefeated, Pac-12 champs playing in the CFP. Of course, you got Bo Nix, and then Marvin Harrison Jr., the only non-quarterback, the only player who isn't a transfer portal player as part of that finalist list, who will have their names called, maybe one of the 4, tomorrow night in New York City for the Heisman Trophy. Listen, the graphic was big enough. I think they could have fit Jalen Milroe on it. That's just me. We only have 4 finalists this year. It's time now to talk about our Heisman with our quarterback and Tennessee Volunteer, Matt Sims, joining the program. Matt, fantastic to see you. We can hear you. We can see you. You just saw that panel of the 4 finalists, Jayden Daniels being the odds-on favorite. So I want to start the Heisman talk with you and him, because some of the dejectors, maybe there's one of them in this studio wearing a suit, is saying, wait, how are we going to give a Heisman to a guy who lost 3 regular season games and he doesn't have his team in a consequential, I'm using air quotes here, bowl game? You say what to people like me who are like, well, you got a guy like Michael Penix Jr., undefeated, playing for a national title?
Yeah, I understand your viewpoint in this in every way. I absolutely do. But when you watch Jayden Daniels and what he did this year for this LSU football team, I mean, we're talking about a 9-3 football team. So a team that was hanging in there with FSU early in the year, still trying to find their identity as a team. But this guy was the difference maker and one of the best football players on the field for every single football game that they participated in. And the other aspect is, I mean, look at these highlights, dude. You don't see a lot of people doing this to SEC defenses consistently. We had all this hype about Bryce Young a year ago. Man, this dude is as good, maybe better than Bryce Young, and a better athlete, a stronger arm. You know, the other thing that I want to add too, they're 9-3. Without him, they might be a 6-6 football team at best. You know, they probably lose to Arkansas. They lose to Texas A&M. They probably lose again to Missouri as well, where he ripped off about 500 total yards of offense all by himself while missing a rib. So this dude has done some impressive things this year, and we got to show this man some respect.
Of course, and it's important to know it goes to the most outstanding player, and Jayden Daniels accounted for 50 touchdowns. That's up there with Joe Burrow the year he won the Heisman Trophy for LSU, who won the national championship that year. But at any rate, totally understand the case you're making with one Jayden Daniels, the current odds-on favorite. Spencer, who do you got?
Well, I wanted to touch on the guy that maybe is the odd man out here.
Sure.
Okay, before we go ahead and advance to, yes, give it to Jayden Daniels, okay? Because I agree. His value, when you talk about most outstanding player, there is no one more outstanding on LSU or more important to one team than Jayden Daniels.
Sure.
That's independent before you talk about the award. No one meant more to one team. But I want to talk about a guy who meant a tremendous amount to an already very talented team. I want to talk about Marvin Harrison Jr., Ohio State's wide receiver, 14 TDs overall, so it wasn't like he was just racking up yardage, which he also did. Talk a little bit about Marvin Harrison Jr., his role in this offense, and why I'm going to put words in your mouth. I think he's got more polish and is as professional grade a prospect that you've seen in the collegiate ranks at wide receiver in a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, Marvin, what he's done this entire year has been extremely impressive, and I know how good this player is because I got a chance to see him actually in high school at St. Joe's Prep Philly, along with his high school teammate and college teammate, Kyle McCord. I was impressed then. I've been impressed now with his college career. This dude's a difference maker when he's on the football field. Statistically, he's probably like 8th in the country as far as, you know, where he is in yards, but you know, it's a tough year for the receiver position because there were so many good ones, but this guy absolutely, I feel like, was the epitome of just like what Ohio State was all about this year. And I feel like he's very deserving to be honored in that way. And we have to definitely consider this guy as either a Heisman candidate, right? Of course, because of his performance, but he's definitely going to be probably a shoo-in for the Blitnikoff this year.
Sure. You see the 14 touchdowns that he recorded this year for Ohio State, basically 2/3 of Kyle McCord's passing touchdowns. It was going to one Marvin Harrison Jr. And I think the one thing that maybe took away from this Heisman campaign was he didn't get the ability to play in a conference championship game because, of course, the votes are due that Monday afterwards. So he didn't get that extra game like the Penix Juniors and the Bo Nix, who I'm about to talk about next, got. Speaking of, Bo Nix. All right, he was the odds-on favorite for a lion's share of this season up until the back half because the numbers he was putting up there rivaled Oregon's only other Heisman Trophy winner in Marcus Mariota back in 2014. Matt Sims, can you make a case for Bo Nix and the numbers that he put up this season for Oregon that would make him a Heisman winner?
You absolutely can make a case for him. I mean, Bo Nix, just what he's done consistently throughout this football season, is the exact same thing that I tried to teach all my young students, when I'm out there coaching these QBs and the future generations at the position. Dude's a great decision maker. He's a great leader. He's done a great job of playing tough. I mean, and the fact, too, that this guy's been through everything. This guy was counted down and out at Auburn, considered one of the most overrated recruits ever. This guy fought through that adversity, and now is coming out of the back end of this, a Heisman finalist. So he really is a lot of what we want to see at the position. A guy that's tough, willing, disciplined, knows where he has weaknesses, improves on those weaknesses, and then year in and year out just keep getting better and better. So Bo Nix is absolutely one of those guys that it's hard not to root for him because of everything that he's been through and how much that he's proved the hard way.
He's one East Coast to West Coast transfer success story, but we have to talk about the other one. We have to talk about from Indiana to Seattle, Washington. We have to talk about Michael Penix Jr., what he's meant to this team. I'm going to make this real simple. Go.
Michael Penix Jr., exactly right. When he's on the field, it's go time, baby. This guy is unbelievable. The throws that he was making in the Pac-12 championship, the throws that he has made consistently throughout the year, even in that game right there against Oregon State when it was just an absolute downpour. This dude's an absolute freak at the position. His arm flexibility, his ability to make plays while being surrounded by a lot of people in the pocket, his accuracy down the field. He's just been awesome. And what he did for the Indiana program and what he's doing now for the Washington program, this guy is an absolute baller.
I mean, when you look at the term outstanding as it relates to the Heisman, I mean, you can't say he wasn't outstanding. He's taken Washington to their first ever CFP. Matt, that being said, who's taking home the hardware tomorrow night in New York City?
This is a tough one, but I have to give it to Jayden Daniels. I do think that he was the best football player in college football this year. What he did for that LSU football team is absolutely impressive. And then let Michael Penix and Bo Nix fight out for the Maxwell Award and the Davey O'Brien Award. All three of these guys should leave and go home with some sort of hardware from what they did this year.
Well, I would give a prediction, but I am a voter, so I can't really talk
Dang.
We have a voter?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a voter too, every 4 years. All right, register and vote, people. All right, that's our quarterback, Matt Sims, joining us on the Kickoff, presented by Ram Trucks, to break down this crop of Heisman finalists. Matt, much appreciated.
Give me something I can feel. Let it